Hi everybody, I'm Jim the Woodworker today. Oh by golly, there's one of my products, kittycave.com. It's a little cat tunnel. Anyway, I've got the kitty cot stuck on the window here. This is, I guess it's a 4 by 7.5 inch picture window. And it's a little bit foggy when it's in the light. It's an older window. And this window is actually going away. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take the window out, and then I'm going to do, I'm building my own bay window, so I've already bought the windows and stuff, and this window comes out, and then I'll frame it out, and there's going to be a 4 by 4 picture window right in the center, and then I'm going to have two of these kind of, what they call them, they used to call them double hungs, but that's some of them call single hung, so I'll have we'll call it a single hung for this purpose. So there'll be a 4 by 4 piece of glass, fixed glass, which is outside, and then there's going to be the double hung there, and a double hung on this side. And I'll whip it outside here so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. So basically what I'm going to do, knock all the trim off of this window, and then I'll remove that glass, and it may get broken on the way out, but that's okay. And then we'll have a window here, we'll have a picture window here, and then we'll have the other window here, and it'll come out, and it'll go right to the soffit right there, and of course I'll have my ledger here. And so anyway, that's what we're going to do, and it's an absolutely beautiful day here in Seattle, as you can see. And I wanted to show you the windows real quick. This is a building they just built, cool little workout room. So these are the windows right here. Got them at Lowe's. And we're going to begin by going into the shop here and looking around, and there's all my kitty cots there. Let's get busy. Okay, now what we're going to do is, I've got some real good plywood just from Home Depot. It's poplar, but I got to tear all the trim off here first to get going, so that's the start. So that's what we do. I'll take the top piece off, then we'll pop all these guys out right here. I think I can get that now anyway. We'll get all the trim off, and then the window will come out, and I'll show you how we do that next. Now I've got to get that top trim off. Cedar I put up, and of course I nailed it with stainless nails. So it's coming out a little hard. Okay, you kind of get the gist of it. about these shingles. They're going away anyway. Got to be careful of my wife's plants down below here. So all this is going to come away, all these little pieces. I'm going to be a little careful with these shingles because I want to save them. And these are old shingles. Okay, so I'll finish getting that top undone and we'll keep on going from there. Okay, so as I look at this window here, it's kind of a funky situation. It's an old window, they put it in a long time ago. I was pulling on it, some of this trim right here, and I've already cracked the window right there. And I'm pulling this piece off right here. And if you look up, the top of the window is actually buried up in there underneath that T111 siding, which is this kind of siding right here. So I'm almost as crazy as it sounds. I'm thinking about, well, I'm going to take that piece out after I trim a little bit of the shingles. I don't want to ruin those shingles completely, because I think I want to save the bottom shingles there. Uh-oh. Oh, I'm unplugged here. Hang on just a second. Okay, I'm coming. Anyway, I'm going to trim a little bit of this shingles. Come on. I'm still unplugged. I got all these old cords here. I'm doing that to save the shingles so I don't bust all these up right here. So now I can come in here and pull this piece out of there and we'll go from there. What I wanted to show you here is I took a piece of that plywood, which is the plywood I'm going to use for creating the sill and the top of the window, because we're making a big garden window here, bay window. So I've covered up the window, like an old glass window, and I think, as crazy as it sounds, that's a big window for one guy to take care of. I've got it all tarped and plywooded out here, and I'm probably going to just bust that window and then just pick up the pieces and throw it in the garbage can here. So this ought to be interesting, to say the least. Okay, I'm pretty well all set up here to bust the window out. You might be wondering how I'm going to do it. Well, probably the best way to do it is with a hammer. You basically hit it with a hammer and bust it. So that's what I'm going to do. I am going to use a hammer and bust the window. A hammer on a pole. That's just one side. I got to do the inside of this thing. Believe me, this is tough stuff. You can see why I tarped it and put plywood down and metal. You don't want all this stuff in your yard. That's how you do it. Then you just pick up the pieces, throw it in the garbage can, and we're going to put the new one in. Okay, as you see, or as you can see, this is an extremely messy job. I have shards of glass everywhere. This is old glass, and you can see that it's just sparkling with pieces. So it's real dangerous work. You have to get up here, and I've got to remove all of this glass up in here, and you can just see how small these little pieces of glass are. I mean, it just sparkles. It's like, this is the best thing to do, is bust this thing up, because if it well, it was the best thing for me because I was just by myself working, and that would have been a real tough job. I would have never gotten it out by myself, and it would have broken into a million pieces anyway, trying to remove it. So what I did was absolutely the best way to go for me. Anyway, I'm going to keep on cleaning this mess up here, and then I'm going to go inside, clean up in there. I'll remove that plywood, and I'll vacuum everything, make sure all the glass is up, and then I can start framing out from my big bay window that I'm going to put in, which will be real fun to watch me do. So stay tuned, folks. Thanks. So this was actually one of the good reasons you tarp it all and put metal down, because everything slides very well on metal, especially glass. And this is not safety glass, by the way. This is old, brittle. Well, I don't know if it's old and brittle, but it's actually fairly old glass, but it's not safety glass. That's why it shards into a million little pieces. By all means, wear gloves. One heavy window there. Kind of a good thing to do. Clean up. Now you can just go through and vacuum all this stuff up here. All the glass, you know, what is up always comes down, so you just grab all that glass on the bottom. We'll do the final cleanup out here and inside, and we'll be glass free. So, there, Diesel. Actually, you're not in the way. Anyway, there you go. It literally is only no more than 2 hours since I set up and busted this window out. And your biggest thing about doing this kind of stuff is you got to be set up. You got to have you have to have tarps down. I mean, if I had not had tarps down, do you think I'd have had fun digging all the glass out of the grass and out of the rocks down here? It would have been a disaster. In fact, I see a little shiny glass right there. I can go down there with my vacuum cleaner, clean up that remainder. Because sometimes you walk barefoot out in the yard. But anyway, this is what you got. The window's gone. Now I can start framing this thing. And that should be fairly simple and straightforward. I'm basically going to build a plywood bottom and a plywood top. And then I'm going to frame it out with 2x4s or whatever it takes me to frame this whole thing out. And then I'll pop the windows in. And I'll be real nice. Everything will be really sweet here. So it's kind of cool. It's very cool to do your own stuff. Just be set up and be careful and don't get in a rush. Like I say, the biggest thing you can do is get set up properly. Okay, now what I've determined is I didn't want to destroy my inside trim, my log trim on the inside, so I'm actually just cutting all this stuff out because I'm going to come back into here and fill this out with wood. So this is what we're doing here. I'm sawzalling all that stuff out with a metal saw blade. And I'm just going into my log trim on the inside, just a little bit. All the way around the whole window and get rid of all this sheetrock, and then I can use wood to finish the inside of the frame. It might take a couple blades to do it, but these are pretty tough blades. It's turning into another mess here, but it's only a few minutes worth. So I got a little bit lucky right here. Instead of having to sawzall all this out, I can just basically pull that whole mess out right there, and that cleans up the whole inside here. I saved all my trim here, my log trim. I busted one little piece here, but that's okay. It's just cedar. I can glue that piece and tack her back in place, but basically she's ready to be reframed out again here, so that's really cool. What I'm going to do, I was going to put a piece of plywood on the bottom here to start with, but what I think I'm going to do is I've got the beautiful 3/4 inch poplar plywood, US made, and I'm going to cut a piece. It's 82.5 inches long. And so what I'm going to do is rip this plywood right in half. So I'll have a 2 foot by 8 foot piece and a 2 foot by 8 foot piece. And I'm going to cut it to length. And then I'm going to screw that piece of plywood up into here. It'll screw right into that spot right there, the outside of the building. And it's going to stick out, okay? But that's going to be the top of my window. The reason I'm doing it that way is because I wanted to gain a little bit more height. Because I've got 48 and 48, 49, 50, 51, and I need to make a 48 inch opening, and I want to raise up the sill, not drop the top, because the couch already here is 30. So, okay, you'll see what I'm going to do. Okay, after measuring, I found out that I had to make the window rough opening a lot bigger. So, I'm cutting into the wall. Now I can make I had to measure out my 3 windows to make my bay window, and the rough opening wasn't near big enough, so I had to open her up. Okay, so I've cut that side over here. I needed 91.5 inches wide to make my bay window here, and now I've got I don't mind doing this a bit. The only problem is all the dust that I create. Now I've got to actually cut a little bit of this stud. Fortunately, the old part of the house, this is an original stud, and this is an original stud. And it's just the framing in these old houses from 1947 is a little funky, so now I'm going to have to go outside, and I drill a pilot hole up on top there so I know where to start my hole, or my cut on the outside. And there's another pilot hole I just drilled right here, and I punch through right here and up on top, and I'll strike a line, and I'll do all my cutting from the outside. So I'm basically shaving that stud, and of course nothing's plumb and level in an old house like this, so that's going to be my next deal here. Just shave that right off, and I'll have my rough open and all set, and then I can actually start the framing process of the window. So it's kind of cool. Very cool. After a little bit of work and with the Sawzall and some hacking and chiseling and using a pry bar, we had a lot of tough nails in here, and these sheetrock screws, if you're slicing through wood on a long section like this, it'll dull the blade real quick. So basically you just get out as much as you can and then tear the rest out with pry bars and chisels. So it looks pretty good. Be my top piece here, and I've made a couple of measurements to get it so my side window fits here. My picture window is going to be along in here. My other side window is going to be right here. So I'm actually going to cut this center line here and then straight down, and that'll fit right into that opening on top and bottom. I got to cut 2 pieces like that. So I'm going to do that right now. This is the bottom plywood for that big bay window. saw blade's a little dull. Okay, you're gonna have to bear with me for a few minutes, but this is gonna be my top piece, identical piece for the bottom, and then I'll stud in between. Well, you'll see how I do that, but I have to put this upper piece in, so it's gonna take me a second. Okay, bear with me. I just got to get my gloves on. I try to do everything as easy as I can. So these are my ledger boards. Give myself a little room to slide that piece in. So that's and I'm putting the good side down. It's like an extra hand. The great thing about these guns is it's like kind of a light framing. It's a finished nail gun or a light framer, real light framer, so you can mess around with it and then put all your stuff together and then go and screw everything together, or a bigger nail gun. It looks good. That way you can keep things level. You can pull them around. And there'll probably be finished wood all around this. This is just rough framing on the inside. Okay, now I'll go cut my other piece and we'll put we'll figure out where the bottom goes and we'll put the bottom in. I'm going to put my sill, a 2x6 sill in. So bear with me. Get a 2x6 sill and then plywood on top of it. Okay. Like I say, this pin nailer is just beautiful. This is a rigid. Okay. Put a level on it. Right on the money. I've got the sheetrock on the back side of the wall holding up the center. Perfect. Level. Now I'll cut the sheet of plywood and put plywood on top of that. Okay, now you can see that we just cut that plywood. Next thing is to put it in place. By the way, I put big screws in. I didn't show you, but I put big screws in, down, 4-inch screws to hold that 2x6 sill. And, like I say, this is poplar plywood, 3/4 inch. It's just a rough framing. So the windows will go in after I frame it all up, and then I'll probably put nice something finished on the sill, on the bottom, and then also on the top. So I'm saying that because I don't care where I nail, because this is just subsurface. See, she's taking shape. Okay, we got to make a board that's going to fit right here. Okay, on both sides. And this is how you figure out the angle. It's real simple. Take a sliding T-bell, just like this. Hang on a second. Okay, sorry about that. This is it right here. Boom, that's it. I got my side pieces. I'm going to go up inside to it. So, if you bear with me for a minute again. I got to run inside.
Okay, I've cut some stiles through the center. And these go in. These are double beveled, by the way. That's how they work. Okay, now I'm just backfilling up top there. It all gets hidden anyway. These are special cuts. It's a little bit off of it. He's coming along pretty nicely. I'll be able to put the windows in tonight, at least to keep the weather out. I can at least tack my windows in for the night. Hammer's out of the pocket in this. We're just tacking them for the night. Well, good morning, everybody. It's a brand new day in Seattle. It's not quite as sunny as it was Saturday when I was putting this window in. My next project here, I've actually only tacked these windows in. I've got 3 screws per window because I had to close it up for the night on Saturday night. Yesterday was Easter, it didn't work. And so what we're going to do is actually take these windows out again real quickly, and then we're going to put a shim underneath here just to raise the window up just a little bit because I want to raise it up only a 1/4 of an inch. And then I've also decided that I'm going to add another 3/4 inch piece of this poplar plywood to the bottom. And these are my cutoffs from this original piece here, so I don't have to go in there and use a sliding T-bevel to try to figure out the angle again. I can just put this thing up in here and get my exact angle, and it's 15 inches wide. And we're going to rip that piece and then take these in the shop and match them up and cut those angles off on the new piece, and then we're going to attach the new piece of plywood underneath here. Okay, you're in my shop, it's all set up. And I'm ripping with the factory edge to the fence. This was cut off with my skill saw, and it was just a little bit lazy, so factory edge to the fence. Okay, and my length was 91.5 inches. So I have the left side and right side because it's just the way it worked out. That's my left side piece. That's my right side piece. And I'm just going to do a pen mark here. Pen mark there. Use a straight line. That's because that was a skill saw cut too, and I didn't want it to be crooked. Make sure your straight edge is straight, of course. There you go. Then I can use a skill saw to cut that. I'm going to adjust my blade depth. piece there, and then we'll screw that in place. I'll show you how to do that. Okay, everybody, we're still working on this, the underside of the bay window. This is my extra 3/4 inch piece of plywood, and I'm going to use these 1¼ by 8 inch star drive screws, and I'm going to put them into, I'm going to pre-drill every 6 inches all the way around this thing, and I might have to get a star bit here also. I got the right one. I'm going to start over. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pre-drill this bottom piece of plywood that's going to go on the underside. We're doubling up that bottom piece of plywood. This is 3/4, the other one's 3/4. This is poplar plywood, real nice. And I'm going to use a star exterior screw, and it's 1¼ by 8, so it will not penetrate the other piece of plywood on the inside, because the inside is probably going to be finished. And so what I'll do is I'll go through and just pre-drill it all. And this is the underside, like I said, so it won't be even seen. But I like to have everything fairly finished. And this will probably get painted along with the rest of the house. And the reason I'm pre-drilling is because it'll suck this plywood up to the other plywood way better if you pre-drill it. And I'm using a countersink bit also. So this will give that whole bay window an awful lot of integrity. And then I'll take you out and I'll show you where I'm at with this whole thing. So what I'll do is have this all pre-drilled. I'll probably even insert a couple screws so it's ready to go. And then I'll take this guy. I'm all set up with this guy here, see? And I'll just do a couple just to get it in, you know, that way when I put it in place it'll be, I won't have to fumble around for screws. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to take you out there now. I'm going to show you how this is going to work. Okay, we're rolling again. And now, here's my piece of plywood here. Like I say, we're doubling this bottom up, so this is going to be a full inch and a half up in here. See, and like I say, it's already been pre-drilled. There's one. Now that has not gone into the inside of the plywood on the inside because the screws are just the right length. And so that's what we're going to have, see. She's all doubled up. It'll be real nice. And then I can trim all this stuff out, remount my windows again. I'm going to push them up a little bit, and then you can see the reason this is not falling down is because I've attached those blocks to the soffit, which is nailed very well up into the top there. And that's why the windows don't fall down. It's quite a solid unit at this point. And then I can always add, I'll either do 45s here, or I might trim it out with angled plywood all the way around so it has kind of like the look of the shadow right there. It'll probably have something like that on the bottom. What I've determined is I'm not going to shim the window up after all, because I like the way it sits right here on this nice sill. There's a real nice margin there, and what I'm going to probably do is do kind of a finished trim on the inside, and up on top you can see there's a decent trim or a decent margin up there, which I like. And I'm going to go outside and I'm just going to show you how I'm going to screw these back into place, so I didn't have to actually take the window back out to reinstall or do this job. So
It's kind of turning out pretty cool. Okay, here it is. So, like I say, I like that margin. I've got my double plywood here. These are hitting real nicely here. And then the integrity of this whole assembly here, like I say, comes from the top where I've nailed those blocks into the soffit, and then the top plywood is nailed to those blocks also. You saw that part. And what I'm going to do is screw it together, or screw the windows in fully. So let me get my, now what I'm using, and like I say, I use that poplar plywood instead of a CDX, because CDX is not near as good as this stuff. And I'm using, these are actually, they tend to be a roofing screw. This came with some snap lock roofing that I put down, roofing. And this is the screw that you use to screw the one side down, and then you snap the roof over. But you can buy this. This is just a washer head, nice screw, basically. And we're going to screw the holes, screw these into the holes of the window now. So you can see that works real nice. You can do every hole if you want, or you can do every other hole. And what we'll probably do is every hole, as long as it doesn't start splitting the plywood. So I'll go ahead and fill all the holes up here. Done. As you can see, I opted to use every single screw hole on the window, because what that does is just creates a very solid unit, and the integrity of this bay window is absolutely strengthened by using every hole. And these are all, like I say, washer head sheet metal screws, and I had a kind of a mixture, and actually some of them had drill bit heads on them. And now what I'm going to do, as you can see, I built those block system. I put the blocks above, and I nailed them real well with the my pin nailer. But what I'm also going to do is I'm going to pre-drill. Remember, this is the soffit. I'm going to go in on an angle, and then what I'll do is I'll use these guys. And these are an external or exterior screw also. And then they have this head on, or they have the machine threads on the bottom of the screw, which actually allows the screw to get sucked up in there better yet. So you can see how that is going in there. So I'll go along and I'll do that all the way around the top here to help increase the strength of this unit into the soffit. So I'm going to go all the way around this whole deal, all the way through here, all the way along the front, and all the way along the other side, and that'll assure that these blocks are screwed into the soffit, and this soffit is tight into the rafters. So there you go. So I'll go do that. You guys take a lunch break. Next task can be accomplished by, is going to be done by a couple of ways, or can be done by a couple of ways. I've gone up in here and put insulation up in here, and there actually is a header. And this old house is built in 1947, so there was a big window here at one point, and who knows actually what else was up in here, but there is a single 2x4 header that goes up across in here. And then there's the studs on either side. And so I have one 2x4, which is on the back of the sheetrock right here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through, and there's going to be trim on here eventually, of course, obviously. But I want to make sure that this is totally in the level position. See, it's just basically free floats right now. So what I'm going to go through here and do is I'm going to put a 4-inch screw
here, and it's going to go up into the header, and I'm going to put a 4-inch sheetrock screw here. That'll go into the header. Then I'll do one more 4-inch screw right here, and that'll go into the header. And this stick right here is going to keep this all, it's going to be my level, basically, to make sure that that plywood up top is level when I put this together. So I'll show you how I do that. So I have a countersink bit, and I'm going to pre-drill the hole, just like so. Just enough so I can put a wood plug in there. Okay, that's pre-drilled. Now I've got my 4-inch sheetrock screws. And you see I needed 4-inch sheetrock screw to get up into that wood header. See, it's biting right now. Now, it's going to be kind of this will allow me to adjust this back into a level position. See, it's got to go up. Right there. So I'll pull her up a little bit more. You can see it going up. And I've got 2 more screws, one on either side of that one to put in yet. And they can go just yeah, it's pretty close right there. So now what I'll do is I'll put this side in. And like I say, you can do a little bit of adjustment when you get ready to put your trim in with this open, exposed screw. You can see it sucking it up. And then I'll put one more right here. Now, it's kind of like a threshold for a door there that is adjustable. Okay, see, so that's pretty good. I've got to go up a little bit more right here. Just a little bit, not much. And then the final adjustment can be done with your trim board up here to make sure that this is all, fairly level and straight. That's pretty good. We can actually go up a tiny bit here. And then you can always eyeball it. And it looks like the middle's got to come up a little bit more. Now that's pretty darn close. And as you can see, this house is so crooked from 1947 that my distance here with the old window and my distance here, there's like about an inch here and there's probably an inch and a half here. So these old houses, they shift, so you have to kind of play around with an old house like that. All right, there you go. Okay, so here's the window. It's all nicely cleaned. It's beautiful. I don't have my final trim on. I don't have my final trim on the inside here, but one of the most important things that you have to do now, before your cat freaks out, you take your kitty cot and you stick it back up, because if you don't have your kitty cot up, your cat's going to be pissed. We'll put it like right there. And this one's got a little dust on it. Let's do this. This kitty cot was in the construction phase of the house here, or of this window, so I gotta clean them off. And you should always pay attention to clean off your kitty cot suction cups anyway. These are the best suction cups you can find. These are made by Adams Manufacturing. They're American made and they are patented. And their patent is that as the light goes through these suction cups, it diffuses the light so it doesn't discolor your furniture. That's one of the cool things about it. Like I say, there's some dust on it from the construction phase, but I don't think Eck was going to mind too bad. Let's put it right about there. That looks pretty level. to make sure she's level. Right about there. That level. Let's see if it's level. I want it to look good. There it is. All I need is Echo to show up and get it on the kitty cot. Okay, thanks for joining me. You can find that cat perch at kittycot.com. I make them. I build them right in my shop. Now there's one beautiful window. And she is solid. Okay, folks, thanks for joining me. And I'll show you some more a little bit later on when we get into doing the interior trim and that kind of stuff. Okay, I wanted to show you here that I ended up going to Home Depot and I bought some brown metal flashings, and I've actually doubled this up. There's a couple, there's a piece underneath. If I pan in a little bit closer, you can see there's one piece which was a drip edge, an inside corner of a drip edge, and it had a couple of bend tabs on it. And maybe you can see it if I go up in there a little closer. But there's a piece up in there, and then that goes all the way around up in there. So I fashioned this flashing for the top of the window, like I say, from parts that I got at Home Depot. And it seems to work really well. It definitely keeps the water out. And like I said, there's 2 layers of it. And it has a little bit of a ripple edge, ripple in the front there because it wasn't bent. That's an inside, that's a step flashing really. It's like a dormer, or it's a step flashing of some sort. And then what I also did here, you can see I got that spray foam, and I foamed around in the edges here, and I also foamed the underside that had a big gap in there, and I foamed that, and believe me, this stuff is tough. It creates one heck of a nice seal. And then all the window holes are filled with these sheet metal washer head screws. And it does work real nice, so that's pretty much the end right there until we're going to paint our house, obviously, and it's kind of a mess, but we're going to do, a paint job, and this will all get wood trim all the way around, which will be real nice. And that's cool. And then once again, I wanted to show you the inside here. So this is the inside of the window, pretty much finished up. I have to do some interior trim work around the windows, but this was that poplar plywood made in USA that I got from Home Depot, and it actually is a real nice finished wood. So that's actually going to be finished right there. The top is also going to be the poplar plywood, and that's finished. The sides, I'm going to add another piece, I do believe, right there, because I'm going to have to build this side out and to accept the trim. So this will probably get half log trim around here, pretty much like the rest of the house. So you can see the log trim all over the place here, and we've got this, like I say, is an old house. You might as well call it this old house. And I wanted to show you a piece of my furniture here. I built this quite a few years ago. So I do rustic furniture also. There's another kind of a funky little piece right here. But that's it. That's how to build a 8-foot bay window for $500. Thanks for watching. Okay, there's the final product. I didn't show you putting all this beautiful cedar in, but this is old growth cedar down here that a friend of mine gave me. This is actually 1 3/4 by 3.5 wide, so 1 3/4 thick. And basically I've added the cedar here on bottom. You can see right here, it's nice and stout. And then this is 5/4 by 4, which I ripped for here. Same on this side. Same on this side here. Same on the right side. So it makes an absolutely beautiful window. And I've added cedar trim on the metal flashing above also. A nice little strip of it. And then everything got caulked in. The building's old, so it needed to be caulked in and weather sealed. And you can see I've done pretty much the same on the bottom.
It's all caulked in right here. It's basically ready for paint at this point, so that's the final product. And we sure do enjoy it. Okay, thanks for watching. Okay, I just got through trimming out the inside of this window, and I opted to use rough sawn 2x6 lumber from Home Depot, and then I basically just kind of carved the edge a little bit. You can see there's a little bit of a razor knife edge there. And then on the inside of the window, I've got some oak trim here, and I've got some, oh, I don't know, I guess it's alder or some kind of a trim up on top there. But it actually comes out pretty nicely. So pretty much the whole window's done now, and it's a pretty nice bay window. So you can certainly do nice trim with heavy 2x6 lumber, especially from Home Depot. Alright, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed seeing how to put a bay window in for $500. Actually, this window cost just under $600 to put in start to finish. Alright, thanks for watching.